thanks a million for doing this. First of all, I really appreciate you taking the time out.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, it's my absolute pleasure. So we'll get into everything, competition and semi-final and all the rest later on.
Yeah.
I want to get to know you a little bit first. So I was curious. One of my friends actually used to live in. Do you say Holland or the Netherlands?
I say the Netherlands, yeah.
Okay, because I was listening to the radio like last week, and they were talking about the difference between Holland and the Netherlands and why it's Holland and why it's Netherlands. And I remember my major experience of it was playing FIFA growing up. And I'd be looking for Holland, being like, where the fuck are Holland? Why are they not in this? And then they'd be under Netherlands.
Yeah, so the difference is that you have the Kingdom of the Netherlands, and it's Holland, you have the northern part of Holland, the southern part of Holland, but you also got the Dutch Caribbean, and that's also part of the Kingdom of the Netherlands. So
okay,
yeah, it's a little bit complicated to explain how our little country works. Yeah, so you have like more a provincial part of North Holland, South Holland, and then you get another few provinces around. So yeah, it's a little bit difficult to.
And Netherlands translates as Lowlands, does it?
No, so Lowlands came from the Lage Landen, so the lower parts of the land. So that's Lowlands.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, that's cool. He spoke to me. The guy that used to live, Vincent, that used to live in Holland, spoke to me about coffee he used to have there. And see, like, there seems to be a fairly decent coffee scene of like roasters and cafes and stuff, is there?
Yeah. We have a lot of coffee, places to drink your coffee. So I would say not at every corner, but a lot of cities and villages has their own roastery or little shops that they brew the local coffee or special coffees around the world or whatever. So I live in a city there with 60,000 people, and we have like 3 or 4 roasteries where you can drink your coffee. So yeah, definitely a lot. Yeah.
And what's the name of the city that you live in?
I live in Zeist. It's close to Utrecht.
Okay, I know Utrecht. Again, I only know them from Dutch football.
Yeah. So it's really in the center of the Netherlands, in the middle.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So you obviously like coffee then.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I think I drink about 3 to 5 cups a day.
Okay.
In the morning, I always start with a cup of coffee, a little bit of yogurt, but the coffee is always there. And I've got a little baby girl, so sometimes you need a little bit more coffee in the morning.
What age is she?
She's like 14 months right now.
Oh wow, okay, yeah. That's kind of in the middle of my 2 kids. I have like a 2-year-old and a 4-month-old.
You know the coffee story then.
Yeah, it is. It really becomes it starts off as like I used to have coffees like I really like drinking coffee, and then there was a period of time where I was like, oh my god, I need coffee.
Caffeine. Yeah.
And now it's like, but now it's a break. Now it's because like my daughter now is at the point where if I'm making a coffee, she say, oh, like in her own way, she won't actually use English this well, but she'd be like, oh, can I have a coffee as well? So I'll leave a bit of my milk in a cup for her. So now if I want a break, if I'm like, okay, like this is just getting out of control, I'll be like, I'm gonna have a coffee, do you want a coffee? And she's like, yep. And she'll just sit there drinking her coffee for like 2 minutes, and then the shit hits the fan again. So
yeah. Our little baby girl is making some noises right now. It's not really talking.
Oh, yeah.
She knows a few words now, and if I start the coffee machine, it's like and then she wants to look what's happening. So it's amazing to see that little child.
Oh, it's crazy. It's crazy.
Growing up.
But even they become so in tune to like that, like hearing certain noises. Like same if Sloan hears the coffee machine, she's like, coffee, you know, like she knows straight away. Like it's very funny. Yes. What about listening habits then? Are you a podcast person, an audiobook person, or music, or what do you listen to?
All of it. I listen to podcasts. I listen to music. I like to listen to podcasts in the morning when I drive through Amsterdam. So it's like 30 to 45 minute drive.
Okay.
So yeah, I mostly listen to podcasts in the CrossFit space to stay updated about everything.
Yeah.
But I also listen to podcasts about personal development or business development. Yeah, to learn. And on my way back, most of the time I'm calling or listening to music.
And you've been on a couple of podcasts yourself.
Yeah, a
Um,
few. Yeah, we made one ourselves with Lowlands as well. So.
how do you find? Okay, so we'll go as guest first. So how do you find being a guest on a podcast? Like, is it weird? Do you find it weird being asked to be on one, or do you think it's like, yeah, that makes sense, and then you're comfortable with it, or is there an adjustment to it?
Yeah, I'm comfortable with it, but it's always a little bit like where we're going to talk about. I am not the important person to talk to. I'm just the head of the event, right? So there are a lot of people on the team that have also amazing stories to tell. So yeah, but yeah, most of the time they ask for the director to come on. But I think a lot of team members of our team has interesting stories to tell. Yeah, so.
And what was your experience of starting one then, of like of running the podcast for Lowlands? Like, was that easier than you thought, more difficult than you thought, more time consuming, less time consuming?
A lot of time consuming. Yeah, it takes a lot of time to run a podcast. But what I thought was it was really I really liked to do it. I did it together with Nolan Mooney, the competition director, and it was just after our first cancellation and in the lockdown. So we thought maybe it's nice for people to listen to stuff, and we had some guests on the podcast as well. We had the Dutch fittest woman, Nienke van Overveld. We had another few international guests as well. So yeah, it was great to make, but really time consuming. Yeah.
Yeah, I find it's time consuming, but it's also easy. Like, you kind of can't mess it up too bad. Like, it's not like, say, a video where you need the right lighting and you need, like that kind of stuff. It's like,
Yeah.
you can have, if you just go basic, you can nail it. If you just go basic, it's when you start adding in other stuff that you're like, oh God, like that doesn't sound right, or oh, that's, disjointed or whatever. But you obviously have a good bit of experience with media. So you were the media head for the Benelux CrossFit, is that right?
Yeah, I was. Yeah, for like.
What did that was that like? Was that mainly like social media, or was it like, say, video pieces on boxes and that kind of stuff?
Yeah, all of them above.
Okay.
Yeah, so we run the socials and we run some media coverage, but it was a little bit in the starting phase of all the country managers.
Yeah.
And because I getted a new opportunity, I needed to let it go, because social media is also a really time-consuming business. So I needed to let it go. But I'm still in good contact with the whole Benelux team. So Joyce and Junior and Wesley are doing an incredible job right now. So that's awesome.
Well, it must have been handy, like racking up some skills and, like, I guess, like contacts as well, and then skills on top of it. Because surely some of those skills were like, when you got involved or like, like kicked things up a gear with Lowlands, it was surely like, oh, well, I actually happen to have all of these skills that I've like just been sharpening with the Benelux media thing, and now I can start funneling them into, like, what are we doing with the social media for this, and how are we going to run that kind of thing?
Yeah, it's a little bit the other way around. I'm running the social media for Lowlands a long time already.
Okay.
And before, I also, in 2019, I ran the social media for Wodapalooza as well. Not the whole season, but just at the competition.
event.
Yeah, at the event with an amazing team. Yeah, I have more experience on the social media part and media part. I also was the media director of Strength and Depth at their last sanctional, and I was responsible for all the broadcasting at Filthy 150. So I've got a lot of media background.
I was going to talk to you about Filthy 150. So that's where I came across you first. Well, that's where I heard of you first, I suppose, because, like, when someone has a job, when someone has a notable job at a competition, you're kind of like, who's that guy?
Who's
Why,
that guy?
like,
Yeah.
yeah. Why is he standing over there? And why does he kind of looks important? What's that about?
What is he doing?
Yeah. So, okay, there's obviously like this big difference. So, like, okay, from a fan's perspective, right?
Yeah.
Like Wadapalooza is a party, and it's like crazy fun and like nightclub esque. Like, you know, it's like beach party,
Yeah.
like almost like a full moon party thing that's going on all day. So that's one thing that you have to, I guess, mirror and match and encapsulate when you're trying to do social media stuff. And then I suppose social media has to be quick and snappy and attention grabbing and stuff. And then you contrast that with like Filthy 150, which is like also a fun competition, but not in the same way. It's more community driven, I guess, like as in like box driven, I guess. And then an actual broadcast, I'm assuming, is radically different from, okay, here's our plan for stories for the next like few days, and here's our plan for posts we can make, and you know, that kind of stuff. So like, is it like when that was something you were stepping into at Filthy, and even with like social media experience and media experience in general, is that like a, oh crap, like what have I agreed to do? Like,
No, not at all. We produced our own live stream at our sanctuary in 2019. We produced already 2 open announcements, and I did a lot of media work outside of Project Space. So I was not terrified. It was just doing my job as best as possible. We flew in a whole Dutch crew. We drive trucks from the Netherlands to Ireland to broadcast the 150, and Jamie and Drina did an amazing job organizing that event, and it was a pleasure to be there, definitely.
Is there a role that stands out that you've had so far then? So if you think of Strength and Death, Filthy, the more social media side at Wadapalooza and other events, is there one that you're like, okay, that's definitely the peak of my ability or the peak of my skill set is doing that particular job?
I'm really grateful for all the opportunities I've got in the past, and everything has its own special thing, right? So at Wadapalooza, you are part of such a big, massive event with an amazing team and yeah, amazing atmosphere as well. People ask me, "What did you see of Miami?" I said, "My laptop screen and my container and my colleagues." So we were a lot focusing on getting everything out. And at Filter 150, it was amazing to have the whole crew over and make sure we get everything covered. Last minute changes or the run bike run over the big field where we're flowing a drone, and we need to capture that into the live stream again. That was yeah, that's also amazing to do. So, and also at SIP, it all has its own specialties and own things that you love about it. And what I love the most is that you get in touch with so many different people, and on the other hand, you see everywhere you see the same people.
Yeah.
So,
and is
it's
it
a
like
small world after all.
for those kind of jobs, do you like tender application to do those, or are you approached by Filthy because you did Sid or vice versa or whatever?
We were approached by Filthy because I did the Lowlands stream, and I was approached by Strength in Depth because I did Filthy, and the other way around. So yeah, if you're already if you know people are actually they know what you're doing, they know what you're worth, and they know.
So once you don't totally fuck up one of the jobs, you're probably okay.
if I will screw one of the jobs, I never be asked again. I think.
How did you get involved in CrossFit in the first place?
I started CrossFit, I think, around 7 or 8 years ago at the local affiliate over here, because I wanted to be fitter, and I was a little bit a lazy gymmer, like to just the regular gym and
a phone checker.
Yeah, moving some weights and then checking my phone again. So, the global gym or something.
Yeah,
Really
we've all
happy.
been there.
Yeah, that was a little bit boring, Okay, we go
Yeah.
to the gym, we do benching, we do pull-ups, and then we do a little bit with the dumbbells, and then okay, we go again. And I was looking for something like, hey, I want to be really fit. It was the time that I also worked in the military, so I, I want to become real fit. Um, so yeah, then I found out CrossFit, and yeah, from the start I was really in love. I didn't, I cannot do a regular. When I started, I cannot do a normal squat because I don't know, how it works or how my legs
Yeah.
needs to move or how my body needs to move. So I learned a lot in a short amount of time, and I'm still doing it. Yeah, now 2 times a week because it's a little bit hectic with work and family. Yeah, I started. And a lot
What
of it.
what was your role in the military?
I was a military police officer.
Okay. And was that in Holland
Yeah, in Holland.
or in
Yeah,
the Netherlands? Okay, right, okay.
yeah.
And is that like a busy job, or is it a lot of training kind of?
No, it was a busy job. Yeah, it was
Okay.
working on the street, be visible for all the military personnel, handle all their cases, investigations, that kind of stuff. Yeah,
So are they investigations within the military?
yeah,
Okay, right, okay. That must be weird though. 'Cause, like, if you're investigating something in the military, are you investigating people that you work with then?
yeah, yeah. That's a little bit strange of the military police,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
Yeah, it's weird. Um, so your local affiliate was in. Oh my God, I've already forgotten the name of the city that you said you live in. Is that the same city that you live in now?
No. It's close by. It's in Driebergen, called CrossFit FSF. It was
Okay.
the second box in the Netherlands, and
All right. Okay.
the box owner were also the founding fathers of the Lowlands Lowdown. So that's how
Oh,
I get
okay.
involved with
That
the
okay.
Lowlands
So
as well.
that's how you got involved in that. And had you say when did you stop working with the military police then?
2019.
Oh, okay. So there was a big crossover where you were doing both.
Yeah.
Like, okay, and you
No,
said
no,
that you
no,
did.
2017.
You stopped.
Yeah. 2017. Yeah.
Okay. So you said earlier on when I asked about Filthy, you said that you had done media work outside of CrossFit. So was that before
And
you
in
found
between.
CrossFit that you're doing that?
No, in between. So I did a study for media and production work, also for event production work. So after that one, I went to the military, and when I was in the military, I always was freelancing in theaters or at the television or at events. So I was always still was working in the event and media industries.
Okay. And what was your original engagement with Lowlands like?
I was a volunteer in 2014. I started in 2014 as a volunteer at the materials team. So I was running around with plates and barbells and
Oh yeah.
dumbbells
Okay.
to make sure everything was on the right spot at the right time. And I was looking around and I said to the event director back then, I said, hey, this can be better. This can be different. This can be cheaper. Or this can be even more better. Or can we do it differently? And they said, hey, you have a lot of good ideas. Come and talk to me.
Shut up, Robin. Go over and move that plate where I told you.
Yeah.
Shut your mouth.
Yeah, so and the year afterwards, I was producing the technical part of the event.
Okay.
And yeah, that grows and grows and grows. And in 2000, after our first year as a sanctional, or the only year we were sanctional in 2019, the event director stopped and he asked me to take his place. So since then, I'm responsible for the whole Lowlands team. Yeah.
What age are you now?
What he's doing?
What age are you?
Oh, what age I am? I'm
Yeah.
30.
Okay, so you were like 26?
Yeah, 26, 27. Yeah.
Wow, okay. And is it like, do you think that it gives you a different perspective because you did the volunteer, like because you kind of worked, like built up, you experienced different aspects of the job and then like gains, you know, like moved up rather than say, oh, I work in, I don't know, like general event management, and now here I am being like, you know, cherry picked and dropped in as in this role? Do you think that you're better for the experience that you've had within Lowlands?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. So if you start with your boots in the sand or on the ground, how you want to call it, um, you've got a lot more of experience, uh, what you like, what you don't like about some stuff, right? So yeah, I definitely think that starting at the bottom and work your way up is the way to go. Yeah.
Yeah. It's remarkable, really. Like, it's quite a like stratospheric trajectory to go from like I'm volunteering and like, you know, nagging the event directors and stuff, and then
Yeah.
like you're in the role yourself. It's pretty cool. Um, so is it? Am I right in saying this is the 12th year of Lowlands then?
Yeah, we had a discussion in the team because it's a little bit difficult because of the cancellations,
Yeah.
moving online. Yeah, so if I count, we started in 2010 and now we're in 2021, right? So, and in 2020 it was cancelled
Yeah.
due to COVID, and in 2021 it was virtual. So yeah, it's a little bit hard which one you count, but if you
Yeah.
count the years, it will be the 12th year.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. And can you? So 12 years. So you were like, it was about 4-ish years old when you got involved. Is that right?
Yeah.
And like when you look at, obviously last year is the anomaly, and the year before, like, you know, the last 2 years just in general have been a shit show everywhere. So when you
Yeah.
just look at, say, your plans for this year, when you compare them to 2014, are you like, holy shit, like this is so radically different from where we started, like it's so much bigger? Or is it like, are the changes like small and incremental so much so that you kind of don't notice how much it's changed?
Of course, it's changed um, because in 2014 we were a local competition. Um, of course, a European competition already. Um, but yeah, it changed. Yeah, definitely. Every year we were more professional. We gathered bigger athletes. Um, yeah, so we grow and grow and grow over the years. Um, but I think what never changes is, let's say, our qualifier is always 3 workouts on one calendar day in the prescribed order. That's from the start, right? So the first year there was no qualifier, but after that the qualifier came out. So some things are changing and some things will stay the same. Um, yeah, of course things are changing. When you have the semi-final, the classic event right now, um, that's because the semi-final people are qualifying through the open, and the people for the classic event qualifying through our online qualifier. So yeah, that's something that really changed since 2021. Yeah.
And what about like CrossFit in the Netherlands then? Do you notice like in that same space of time, has it like grown drastically? Has it kind of grown steadily, or has there been a huge change or not much of a change?
I think we were early adapters in the Netherlands, so we got a lot of boxes already, and it's still growing.
Hmm.
Um, and the competition are all growing as well. So there are a lot of competitions back here in the Netherlands. But that's something we also have the big music festivals. We got a lot of festivals back here. So um, yeah, the Dutch are really entrepreneurs. You know, they want to invent things. They want to be part of things. Yeah, so um, yeah, that changed a lot. It growed over the time. We were the first competition, and now there are, let's say, more than 10 competitions where people can
Hmm.
choose. So uh, that also changed the spectrum for us. Yeah.
Um, so historically speaking, then, so the classic event, like your pre-sanctional and pre-semi-final status, I guess. Um, what has it historically been? Has it always been an individual competition? Is there
Yeah.
always individual and team, or how does it work?
Until 2019, it was just individuals.
Okay.
With individuals for masters teenagers, and elite. Yeah.
And then 19, you added teams because of the sanctional status.
Yeah.
And when you were named a sanctional, were you like, oh, yay, this is amazing? Or were you like, oh, crap, how are we going to fit in the team? Oh, we have so much changes to make.
It was not that many changes for us
Okay.
because we already had a good running event. The only thing was we need to reschedule the dates. So we did an event in October, and then we needed to do another event quickly afterwards. So yeah, that changed this for that's changed for us. Yeah.
And am I right in saying that you've added adaptive divisions? Is this the first year there's been
Yeah,
adaptive divisions added?
yeah. So what we always said was that everyone can join our qualifiers. So I believe it was in 2019 when we did an open announcement, we had already adaptives doing the open announcement on the live broadcast. Without there any changes or without adaptive divisions in the open. So we were always saying everyone can do the qualifiers, you can scale everything, you can adapt everything to make sure you will be part of a big community event that the Lowlands is, because a lot of boxes in the Netherlands and in the rest of the Benelux are hosting our qualifier during the weekend and make it a big community event. So I was thinking with my team, and we were thinking about it like, hey, how can we officially make them part of it? And it's really hard. That's something I need to say, because we started with the seated and standing divisions. So 2 divisions for the adaptives. But yeah, it's a little bit unfair to have just two divisions for adapters, because you can sit in a wheelchair and be part of the seated division. But you can have, let's say, one arm and the other one has 2 arms, or it's or somebody can move his torso and the other one can't. So it's really hard to make that competition fair. But we need to start somewhere. That's
the thing. You see, anytime the games put up a post mentioning adaptive or anything about adaptive, there's like attacks in the comments about like, oh, you have this but not this, and you have this but not this, and it's like, I suppose it's easy to say from sitting on your couch at home, like, well, why don't they just like do all the divisions? And it's kind of like, well, there's a lot of different, even nuances within the divisions, like you're saying, where someone, depending on what part of the spine is affected by somebody who has a spinal injury, it's like they can move like both their arms, one of their arms, like as far as their hips, as far as their chest. Like there's a lot of like challenges for event organizers to, like, the boxes to tick, basically, like you're saying, where it's kind of like, okay, yeah, we can have, we could end up with 40 divisions pretty quickly, and like one person in each division, pending how many people apply or how many people go for qualifiers and stuff. So I think it's important to recognize that, like, to fix a problem or to fix people missing out, you have to start somewhere, and then when you can start somewhere, it's easier to keep going.
Yeah, that's exactly what we decided to do, is just get the ball rolling. We are working together with the Adaptive Training Academy and the Dutch Adaptives. So we are working with people who know what's going on. And that's awesome. Where you can have an open conversation about, hey, how can we do this, or how can we do that? Or we first recorded the qualifier movement standard with 2 adaptives. And during that recording, we think out, it's like, hey, I cannot do that. I'm a standing athlete, but I can't go below parallel because of my how do you call it?
Restrictions or whatever.
Yeah, restrictions. Yeah. So we need to adjust that. So yeah, that's the thing I think people don't understand, or it's harder to understand for people, is that it's so difficult to include everyone. We want to include everyone, but it's so difficult because there are so many things you need to take in place to make sure everyone can be involved. So that's why we chose this year to have first two division, adaptive standing, adaptive seated, and get the ball rolling, learning a lot, listen to the athletes, and make it better next year.
Yeah. Well, I think it's very easy to have tokenism and to be like, hey, we've got adaptive visions now, it's fine. So I think the important thing that you're saying is like, this is the start, and then we kick on and we learn from this year, we see what we can add or change next year, we learn from next year, we see what we can learn or change or add the year after. Like, I think that's the important thing, is that it is just the start, I guess.
Yeah, and it's also that at our final event, Alec from the Adaptive Training Academy will be on site to be responsible for the adaptive division. So we are taking this very, very, very serious to make sure we can improve it next year.
The sanctional season then, so 2019, what are your like prevailing memories of that? Like, it sounds like it was stressful if you had a kind of a quick turnaround from one event into the next. Like, it's probably a headache that you don't want, but then you've got the stick of having to maybe organize an event kind of on the fly or kind of quickly, or a quick turnaround, and then you've got the carrot of, hey, we're being recognized as a sanctional event. This is pretty good.
The most stressful part was that there was the European Championship of volleyball prior to our event in the same venue. So we got,
I wasn't expecting that answer. I wasn't expecting to be talking about volleyball. Go on.
Yeah, so the last match was at Wednesday night, late, and the whole floor was covered with stands, with volleyball fields, everything. So in the night, they need to take it all out, and then the next morning or the next afternoon, we started. So we got less than 24 hours to pull everything off.
My God.
Yeah, and that was the most stressful thing I think our team ever been part of. So, but we managed.
What was the application process like? Say, if you compare the application process for sanctionals versus the application process for semifinals, are they like the same, similar, or are they totally different?
We got a phone call from Greg Lesman and say, hey, do you want to be a sanctional? So CrossFit selected events throughout the world and say, hey, we heard good stories from this event and this event. You are an event that has a lot of experience, so you're going to be sanctional. And a lot of other events, good events in Europe, are also mentioned as a sanctional. So that was amazing. What I thought was a good thing about the sanctionals is that everybody needs to go to the qualifier of that specific event. So you're all are part of that community. It doesn't matter if you are an elite athlete or a skilled athlete, or you're a games athlete or a master athlete. You are all going through the same process, right? And that's different now, but you have the semi-final, you go through the open, and then you got the classic event that goes through our qualifier. So I like the sanctionals. Yeah.
So 2020, then you have to cancel your event.
Yeah.
And then 2021, everything changes. So the season changes and semifinals are announced. And I remember messaging you twice in 2021. I messaged you once saying, hey, congrats on being named a semi-final, that's amazing, fantastic. And then I messaged you again saying, hey, I'm really sorry that the shit has hit the fan so badly and you're having to cancel your event. Like, you talk about a high and a low of emotion. I'm assuming the elation of being named a semi-final and preparing for this event, and then the uncertainty of fuck, had you your kid during this time as well?
Yeah.
Oh my God. So like, that must have been, God, did you have a whoop then? I'd say your recovery and your heart rate would have been interesting during that period of time. So
yeah,
you had,
I've got a whoop right now, but during that.
So you had you were named a semi-final event. You're all guns blazing, preparing for that. Then obviously things start changing around, like, March. You've got like, I guess, like 2 months there will it not? Kind of looks good. Oh shit, it kind of looks bad again. Oh, it kind of looks good again. And then no, we have to move online. So, like, is it hard to keep going? Like, is it hard to be like, you know, to kind of push when it's an online event and you've had your previous year's event has been cancelled totally, and now this event has been like, I guess, like largely taken out of your hands. Like, you can't control anything that's happening really. It's just being taken away from you. Like, is it hard to kind of push as much as you want to when it's like, oh, it's not what we imagined?
No, it's funny to say that we had everything in place to do the 2021 semifinal. We've got the permission from the local government to do it, but it is really hard for athletes to travel around Europe back then. So they need to be in quarantine in Holland for like 10 days. And that was so expensive for the most of the athletes that it was not fair to them to ask them travel to the Netherlands. Maybe you get tested positive and you cannot compete. And on the other hand, it was really hard for us to pull off an event without spectators, without vendors, without sponsors. Of course, you got sponsors, but it's different if you have like 5 or 6 or 10,000 people in your stands versus you got just the live stream, right? So that was really difficult, but we were highly motivated. I texted every week with the local government and say, hey, I need to get more information for you guys. I called the director of the venue and said, hey, you need to call the mayor and make sure that we can continue. And the hardest part was like, hey, professional sports, for people who go to the Olympics and that kind of stuff, those people can train and those competitions continue, but CrossFit is not an official recognized sport. So I needed to explain to the local government, what's this all about? Is this a professional sport? So I received a
They're
letter.
like, is it volleyball or is it something else? You know, no, not the volleyball. The other thing, the thing that was after the volleyball.
Yeah. So Eric Rosa was so kind to send us a letter that we can send to the local government and say, hey, we are a professional sport, but it's really hard for people. If normally you are part of the Olympic Committee and that kind of stuff, and now it's just it's a company in the United States. It's private owned by one person. There's nothing. People cannot speak against that person or whatever. Yeah, so that's really difficult. But together with the games team, we decided that it was too hard for the athletes to travel and to pull off the live event. So they took it over and made it virtual. Yeah.
And how involved were you once it was made virtual? How involved were you and the team in producing the event and things around the event?
CrossFit took it all over.
Okay, so does that leave a bitter taste then when it's like taken away totally?
Yes and no. Of
like,
course.
would you rather it was taken away totally like it was, or would you rather be left? Okay, this is what's happening, but you're in control of it.
No, I think CrossFit made the right decision back there.
Yeah.
Because they needed to provide all the information about the workouts, about how the scoring system works, about how they want to do it with media content and that kind of stuff. So yeah, it was a good choice. And during the weekend of that semi-final, the virtual event, we sent out some camera crews to the places we can go, so we can cover it a little bit from our side as well. And we sent emails out to people with updates and that kind of stuff. So we tried really hard to keep the community updated as well. So.
Yeah. More, I guess, like recent positivity then. You're named a semi-final again for this year.
Yeah.
Is that like, how was that application process in comparison to, obviously it's different from getting a phone call saying, hey, you're a sanctioned event now. So like, is it this year where you like, we're interested in doing this again and you had to prove yourself all over again? Or is it like, we didn't have our chance last year, can we have it this year?
No, it all starts over. Yeah. So in 2019, 2020, when we started this, we need to fill in an RFP. So we make up a document around 30 pages with all the information about the event, information about the area, everything, how long the travel is from the airport to the venue, how long the travel is from the train to the train station to the venue, etc., etc. How many hotels are in the neighborhood? So a really good document, and we made out a movie as well to show the people in the United States, hey, this is how it looks like. I know we were sanctional, but we are ready to go for our semifinals. So yeah, after a long time of waiting, we were called on a Zoom call and yeah, get congratulations from the team in the United States. Say, hey, you are a semifinal. And that was an amazing feeling. It was like jumping through the roof back here in my house, and we were really happy. But yeah, then the whole COVID thing was happening, so yeah, it was like a little bit double. Um, and in 2021, it was not that much as what we did in 2020, but yeah, it needed to start all over. Yeah, not we didn't make another document that say, hey, it's exactly the same as last year, but we need to apply for being one as again. Yeah.
Okay, so if you have your event cancelled and then your event is taken away the next year and moved online, are you like, is there a danger of like over exuberance for this year of like, okay, well, this needs to be like absolutely incredible because we've got all this pent up energy of like, we had to cancel everything and then we had to move everything online. Like, are you having to kind of pull the reins a little bit and keep like calm? Because I'm assuming everyone's crazy excited.
Yeah, we are all are really excited. Um, but every time we are surprised by how many work it is to pull an event like off like this. So yeah, the team is really excited. I am really excited, and the community is really excited to be part of it. Today I got a message, and we said, look, which crossbox it was exactly. Uh, it was from CrossFit Front Row, and they're out of Germany, and they sent us a voice memo on Instagram and said, hey, can you please tell me the venue or at least the city where you will be hosting, because we want to book hotel really quick with our whole team, and it doesn't matter if somebody is qualifying, yes or no, but we want to be part of this. So yeah, and the second part was, hey, you're doing a really, really, really good job. We are so excited. And I text them back and say, hey, as soon as I know and I can confirm everything, we will let you know. But for now, it's still in the negotiation. So yeah.
Yeah, that's great though. Like those messages must, because like that kind of vindicates everything. Like it kind of makes like, it kind of plasters over the cracks of the last 2 years of how shit it's been. That it's like that if like, because I think everybody, especially in Europe, I know things are different all over the world, but I know especially in Europe, people are like, oh please, like just let us watch people work out and suffer live in person, and like let us all just get together and like hang out with other people who have the same weird interest of watching people suffer in in the middle of a workout. Okay, so then I guess the easy thing to do would be to have your classic event and then have your semi-final event and have two total separate entities on two totally separate occasions. But am I right in saying that you're having the semi-final event and the classic event at the same, like they're running concurrently?
Yeah, and that's because it comes the closest to what we did in the past.
Okay.
It was just one event for the elite and for the people that has for the whole bandwidth of the community. Games athlete and regular Joe from your local gym. So yeah, in 2016, Laura Horvath was our female champion, and in 2016, nobody knew that she was a games athlete and be the second fittest woman on earth, right? So
yeah, that's crazy. is it is it a daunting prospect hosting a semi-final, like hosting? So obviously there's different expectations there. You've got overbearing expectations from HQ being like, we need to have this kind of event. It has to look like this and feel like this, or it has to vaguely fit these parameters that all the other events are fitting, even if it is a vague parameter. And then you've got these elite athletes that are coming, and they have certain expectations, and they have certain things that they expect, and a way they expect to be treated, and things they expect to see, and things they expect to not have to deal with. And then you have average people, say like me, turning up to maybe their first event, and is it a daunting prospect having to tick all of those boxes for all of those different groups of people?
No, I don't think so. We do what we do best, and that's organizing an event in Plus. We're organizing this already for let's say 12 years now, to make it easy, and you can ask all the people who were at our event how they if they liked it, yes or no. And we got a lot of reactions from people saying, hey, this is one of the best running events in Europe. It's sometimes some athletes say it was better than regionals. So yeah, we just do what we think we do the best, and we've in the past we already let the people know how we run events, and we want to do that the same. So
I think the only person I know that's done it is Sam Stewart, and he absolutely loved it. Like he really loved going there, the country, the people, the event, the way it was ran, the way he felt doing it. Like obviously he didn't enjoy like thrusters and stuff, but he enjoyed the way he felt like emotionally around the event. So yeah, I've heard one endorsement and it was glowing. So okay, the qualifiers for the community event are open now. Is that right? And they okay, and when is the closing date to register?
The 22nd of February.
And when is the workouts due by?
The same. You can register until the same day and then log your scores.
So can I register today and then do the events today?
Yeah.
And so, did you say you have to do the 3 events in the same day? Is that right?
At the same calendar day, yeah. So not a 24 hours.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, that's interesting. Yeah, I like that.
So that's the fun part of our competition, of our qualifier, is that you have like a small competition in your own box.
Yeah.
So you can compare yourself to your box member and to people that are around the world, right? So that's so funny about our event, is that you have that small competition in your own environment.
Yeah, that's cool. I like that. That's clever, because you can host an event in your gym where anyone who wants to do it, whether if they're not registered, they can still come and do the 3 workouts, and you can have a whole community day in your gym, and then you could send 4, 5, 6 athletes to go to the community event and do the community event, and then the whole crowd can go and watch that, cheer them on, and then go and watch whoever, Sam Stewart, get his ticket to the games, or whoever else. So that's very clever. I like that. Okay, you said that you haven't set your event location yet. Is there any like minimal teases you can give us on what we can expect? No, nothing. Who's programming the event?
Kevin from Unscared Fitness.
Okay, and is he doing both the elite and the community event?
Yes.
And is there going to be like a common thread between? Like, will the workouts be similar? Will they be drastically different? Will there be like a common theme running through the workouts? Do you know?
So our theme, we have a theme every year. And this year our theme is Remember That Feeling. So, remember that feeling. That's just the common theme.
Whether it's a feeling you want to remember or would rather forget, you're going to remember that feeling.
That's on your own.
Okay, and then I'll finish with a quick fire in a second, but just one last question. So you've been to events as a spectator, you've been to events as an event director, you've been to an event as a spectator while being another events director. Are you able to go to an event and just like relax and enjoy it as a spectator, or are you constantly looking around being like, I wouldn't have done that now, or oh, maybe they should have, you know, maybe if I was doing this now I'd do it differently? Are you able to just like sit down and enjoy it and like be a fan?
The best way to get an answer is to ask my girlfriend Flora. But I think you get the answer. It's you cannot go to events normally. It's always like you see this and this and this. It's not fun to go to an event with you. It's the same at television, because I work also on television. It's like, hey, that's not right. It's not funny to watch TV with you.
Yeah, it's funny because I interviewed Jamie from Filthy, and he said, and it really stuck with me, that if he goes out for dinner, he's like, this place could run more efficiently if that person did this. And I'm like, oh, come on, like surely you can just go out and enjoy a dinner. He's like, no, it literally bleeds into everything.
Yeah, that's how it goes. Yeah,
that's crazy.
It's amazing to be at other events, because people are all running in their own way, right? So I love to be at the French show, and I love to be at Filthy 150, and I learned at Filthy things. I learned at Strength and Depth things. I learned things at Waterpalooza, and I also learned from other sports events or music festivals or television shows. And you watch to it and say, hey, this thing we can implement in our event, or this can do better, or this is where we already rock, but maybe we need to change it a little bit to make it more efficiently, or so I'm constantly looking around and trying.
So you're a pain. You're a pain to spectate with, is what you're saying.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I'm not fun.
Okay, well, look, we've finished with a quick fire. So sprint or chipper?
Chipper.
Snatch or clean?
Clean.
Bike or run?
Bike.
Row or ski?
Ski.
Barbell or dumbbell?
Barbell.
And burpees or thrusters?
Thrusters.
Oh God, I always judge people when they pick thrusters.
Yeah.
Yeah, look, thanks a million for coming on. I really appreciate taking the time out. I know things must be hectic for you. Congratulations on securing semi-final status again, and I really hope that everything just falls perfectly into place this year, because I think the Lowlands team deserve it, and I think the Benelux and wider European community deserve to have the event that you want to put on and that people, you know, need to see, I think, at this stage. So I'm really looking forward to seeing what you can do. And yeah, best of luck with everything.
Yeah, thank you very much for having me on the show. Hopefully you can be part of it. Hopefully you can be there.
Yeah, that's the plan anyway.
Yeah, so really looking forward to pull off a show and to let Europe, let the whole Europe or the whole world know that we are back.